Hello there, Internet. This is nelsonr12 speaking. And, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I wasn't even 100% sure if I was going to do another commentary. Because, you know, with the one shot that I did, using that clip of George Carlin didn't really get my point across as well as I would like it to. And with the Rant God commentary, I just kind of made myself look like a dumbass making a commentary on the stroll, and made myself look like an AVGN fanboy. So I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do it or not. But then Guptill89 posted another Rant to Wreck video, and I was just too tempted. So this is I'm gonna make like a 3 strikes rule here. The first one, Landmarks was a failure, Ranka was a failure. If this is as bad as those, I'm just gonna stop. That's why.
Blockbuster, an organization once known for having nationwide rental stores, places where people could walk around and browse what kind of movies and games they had. It was something that was homey and friendly. Video arcades, places where citizens could waltz around and try out what game cabinets were available, and use a claw machine filled with toys. Paper letters, messages that were sent back and forth all the time between friends and family. And finally, film photography, a circumstance that involved taking pictures with a camera and then bringing the rolls of film to a photosmith to develop. These 4 things were really good to abide by. They involved a lot of traveling, but were simple nonetheless. Until all that changed.
I'm acting.
These 4 elements that used to be parts of life have been replaced almost entirely by these products.
Shouldn't it be these products?
Items that access the information superhighway. I really don't want to sound preachy.
Well, you're a little late on that.
And make it sound like I am repeating what I already thought about the current World Wide Web. But when something you feel is important comes along, you need to speak. Here's the deal. The one major problem about the internet that I didn't think to mention before is that in most cases, it is killing physical socialization, something we humans were meant to do daily.
Oh, what do you know? Guptill finally told us what the meaning of life is.
With Blockbuster LLC closing every single rental store...
Really? Because there's a Blockbuster that's open only 1 block away from my house.
And moving everything they do to cyberspace, online gaming causing so many video arcades to go out of business, and...
What? No, they're not.
So on, it seems to me that laziness has reached a whole new level. The way I see it, it seems to me that hundreds of people have forgotten the one simple fact that any piece of technology has the potential to stop working. And once it stops working, you either spend lots more money to buy the same electronic object, or you play it smart and you save a lot of dough by not purchasing the same item.
Or you can get it fixed. What if you have a warranty?
And power outages also play a part in electronics failures.
I don't think electronics failures is the right word.
Why am I pointing out the obvious? Well, to quote Undertaker Freak 1127, technology is not infallible. It's never perfect. It never lasts forever. See, if you take the time to think about it, do you really need such high-tech stuff that in the old days only the military used?
Define exactly what it is you mean by old days.
No, you don't. Heck, I used to use a regular mobile phone. Barely. But I've gotten to the point where I don't need to use one anymore because, first of all, there's plenty of payphones around the parts where I live. And secondly, I don't have to worry about people constantly calling me and sending me text messages because every time you receive or make a call, you end up spending more money than you need to.
Well, what if you have an unlimited calling and texting plan?
And before you jump to conclusions telling me that this problem can be remedied by switching off your cell phone, picture this. Imagine if your companions were having a party, getting loaded, something awful happens to a friend, and another friend tries to inform you about the situation. If your cell phone is off, either they're asked to leave a message, or the dial tone keeps going on for infinity until they hang up. They'd be pretty unhappy, don't you think?
Okay, back up. Now, what is it you said earlier in the vid?
I don't have to worry about people constantly calling me and sending me text messages, because every time you receive or make a call, you end up spending more money than you need to.
You see, that same emergency call is the same type of call that'll cost you money when you do answer it. So you kind of have to decide between the two here, Guptill.
The only people I can think of who would need something as expensive as an iPhone are important people, like a leader of a country or a fireman or policeman.
You see, Guptill, no one really needs an iPhone.
Online gaming is, of course, another parasite of physical socialization. Like I mentioned earlier, it's causing every single arcade in the world, except in Japan, to lose profit and close.
That I know is just not true, because there are plenty of arcades here in the Bay Area.
It isn't just home console ports of arcade games. Do arcades need the World Wide Web to function?
What if you were playing an arcade cabinet on an emulator?
Nope. Even though you have to pay to use a game cabinet, Xbox Live does the same thing in the web-enabled world. That means you're losing a lot of cash playing a shooter game all day long, and you're not getting out as much as you should. While the PlayStation Network and Nintendo Wii's Matrix offer free service, the fact of the matter still stands. The information superhighway can suddenly go down out of the blue, and it can take days or even weeks to be restored.
Given the fact this video is about getting outside and socializing, wouldn't the fact that the internet went down be a good thing?
If you've seen my second technology rant, it's especially bad if hackers are involved. There's even people whose internet goes down all the time. And sure, the plan for a cyberspace blackout on March 31st was denied, yet there will always be a chance of a blackout because, once again, technology isn't perfect.
No one ever said technology was perfect!
There isn't much to say about film photography.
How about good riddance film photography?
And paper letters. Digital cameras and email have almost entirely replaced these two things. They're still around, but quite rare. Practically, the only people I know who write paper letters are the poor.
I'm gonna assume that's what you meant by poor people in your other technology vids.
The Amish, prisoners, and military people away from home. And film photography, well, only about 4% of the world would like to have physical developed photos. Still, a film photo has better quality than a digital image.
Sometimes.
I would prefer to have a film photo on my wall over a pixelated and fugitively inked one.
Unlike film, however, when you take a digital picture, you always will know what it looks like if you want to take another one.
I myself am interested in film photography, but it won't be easy at all to find a film camera, since you'll only be able to find one on eBay.
eBay, another part of the information superhighway that's ruining social conduct, which is what this whole video was about in the first place.
At a flea market, a yard sale, or a thrift store.
There, 4 easy-to-find places to find cameras right off the bat.
And for most of the world, photosmiths are extinct. The only people who really develop film these days are X-ray technicians and dentists.
That's such an oversimplification, it's not even funny.
In short, iPhones, online gaming, what have you, with the exception of computers, are just very expensive toys.
I wouldn't call a device that can do your taxes and email a toy.
These are the things the companies and you think you need. And let me remind the viewers that I am talking to regular people.
What exactly do you mean by regular people?
You know what's more important than your expensive smartphones, being glued to your seat playing a web-enabled game, and so on?
You know, what exactly is up with Guptill's vocabulary? I mean, it's just a minor point, but web-enabled video games, information superhighway. I have never heard someone describe the internet and online games with such vocabulary.
Outside and inside exercise, playing an instrument, spending time with a close friend,
Guptill says close friend like he actually has close friends.
and of course, book reading. But even book reading is getting a little ruined too with a device called the iPad.
What's so bad about the iPad letting you be able to read books?
A device that requires a battery to run, and you can use it to go online and download a book. I don't see such a big deal about heading to your local library or Barnes & Noble and picking out a physical book.
Well, what if you're looking for a specific book and the Barnes & Noble and library don't have the book you want, but the iPad does?
That requires no electricity and can last for eternity.
That effect was incredibly pointless.
The same thing also applies to renting DVDs. I mean, Netflix and Blockbuster Online are okay, but people have streamed movies and rented them off the web to the point where most, if not every rental store in America has gone out of business. Thankfully, physical DVD rental is still going thanks to Redbox kiosks and public libraries. Again, I don't see anything wrong with heading to either one and browsing around for a movie.
Well, what if you're looking for a specific movie and they don't have it?
You may argue that you'd be paying more for car gas, yet the same thing applies to the delivery people helping Netflix.
But we're not paying for the gas that'll get the movies that are delivered to us via Netflix.
Besides streaming, would you rather wait for the borrowed movie to arrive at your house, or head to a store or kiosk and purchase it right away? Either way, driving is required unless you can get there on foot.
Or by bus. Or by bike. You're being very vague here.
Seriously though, this quote-unquote on-demand streaming business has got to stop.
Why? You have yet to supply one good reason why we shouldn't have on-demand movies or Netflix or Blockbuster delivering.
I just want the people who aren't interested in having cyberspace and mobile phones to be fresh out of luck. In a situation like this, the so-called weak should not have to make room for the strong.
Redbox is actually stronger than Netflix when it comes to income right now.
Having both physical and electronic interactivity is a more sensible lifestyle for people to live.
And that's the lifestyle that we're living at this very moment.
And I know what most of you are thinking. You're thinking, you idiot, all this is like saying we should go back to using the telegraph and carrier pigeons instead of the telephone.
It does kind of sound like that's what you're trying to say throughout this whole video.
Well, that kind of change was proper. The telegraph and phone both require electricity, but the phone is obviously more efficient because the telegraph sent messages through Morse code, and we obviously don't talk in Morse code.
But that upgrade wasn't absolutely mandatory.
On the other hand, something like streaming films through Netflix instead of physically browsing for a movie in a store or library isn't more rewarding, it's just easy.
So it's talking on the telephone versus the telegraph.
Sometimes the phone service malfunctions, sometimes the internet service malfunctions, and they leave you no choice but to go an old way.
So if my car breaks down, I should resort back to using horse and buggy?
All I'm saying is, there's more to life than all these nifty devices. I may use a computer that has internet, but I used it in the way that it was meant to be used.
You know, to look at Sonic porn, to find images for my videos on Google Images, to post really shitty videos and I get my ass handed to me by M. Skull and the Blockbuster Critic. You know, like that.
For work, certain research, or for finding something that I can't find elsewhere in the real world, and for broadcasting this message. You don't need to be tethered to the internet.
And neither do you, Guptill. You should remember that next time.
Expand your horizons. Like I urged earlier, go for a walk, play an instrument, read a book, go on a date with someone you like, or manually shop for something that doesn't need to be ordered online.
He says that like it's the most important thing he's ever said in his whole entire life.
If it's possible in your area.
That was the sentence I was looking for throughout this whole video.
That is all. Thank you for watching.
Oh, what do you know? Guptill edited and did the music. finally, the video's over. And, well, I already made a Guptill joke on my last Guptill commentary, so I won't make another one this one. And if this commentary gets such negative feedback like my last ones, I'm not going to make another commentary. This is nelsonr12. Thanks for watching.